Up and introduce our first speaker. So as I said, Amy will be delivering her first speech, The Icebreaker, which is all about Amy. And it's 4 to 6 minutes. It's an opportunity, as each one of us give our icebreaker, to share something personal, whatever we choose or whatever we feel comfortable with sharing about ourselves so that we get to know the person. So please help me welcome up Amy Gao and her speech, All About Amy.
My fellow Toastmaster, so today is my first speech, Icebreaker. Alright, let me introduce myself. First, my last name. How to pronounce it correctly is Cao. It's basically like Italian, C-H-A-O, Cao. If you pronounce that way, it might more closer to the Chinese way. Okay, it's Cao. I have been here for 23 years. So I have been as a U.S. citizen for more than 10 years. My first stop here is University of Illinois, and I came here like most others Chinese graduate students. Right? We came here to further our study. I got 2 master's degrees from Math department. The first one is University of Illinois at Chicago, mathematics, computer science. After this graduate degree, I became a software engineer in Motorola for several years. Then I say, hey, this software is so close to the hardware, you know, it's not my interest. I'm more interested with the real software and maybe play with data, use my strengths as math. So I got a second degree in Motorola, and then they sponsor for the tuition, okay? So I got my financial mathematics degree, master degree from University of Chicago. Then I found a job in Discover. And there's a policy in Motorola. If you didn't stay for 1 year, you need to repay the tuition back to the company. I paid the tuition for my second master degree, University of Chicago. At that time, more than 10 years ago, that's around $6,000 per course. Okay, I all paid by myself, but I definitely think it's worth it. All right, so basically my icebreaker, I want to cover my education. So I already covered. Second one, my career. So after I got this degree, I switched to analytic field. So I'm really passionate to play with data. I like this field. I think definitely worth the tuition I paid. Unfortunately, year 2009, I'm at that's the economic depression time. In Discover, my first stop is risk management. At around the year 2009, I switched to marketing. That's the acquisition department. Then the whole group got 50% laid off. So I'm at my first laid off in my lifetime, year 2009. Then I found myself another job in the retail, in the consulting company. Now I'm in the insurance and health insurance company, as you already know. And thank all of you for the feedback, for all the practice gave me, and my conference presentation. I definitely made it's a very good one. One of my colleagues especially drove 2.5 hours from home, especially joined my presentation session and took photos and the videotape for me. It's definitely a great. I'm going to send it to my company. They will broadcast for me. All right, so covered my education, my career. Now the main topic, my family. All right, I have 2 families, right? My original family, my parents' family. My original family is 4 people family, my parents, my brother, and I. My brother is my younger brother. All right, both my parents are originally from Hunan province. If you Chinese people would know, Hunan province, that's everybody eats spicy food. I love spicy food. Definitely I eat spicy food. Okay, so I was born in Hubei province. That's because my dad was in Hubei province and my mother at that time is in Hunan province, and I was born in Hubei province. Then I followed my mom to go to Hunan province, stay until 5.5. Then both of us switched to Hubei province. And so I had all my education in Hubei province. Then I finished my undergraduate degree, right? I came here. Now, and I met my husband, okay? So we got married. Now I have a second family, my small family. My husband is from northeast of China. I'm from South China. He doesn't eat any spicy food. So basically, I'm the person in charge of cooking at home. I need to do two pairs of food, right? One spicy for me, another one non-spicy at all for him. All right, now my daughter. We have my daughter, like she was born in year 2007. She is lovely. She is smart. I'm so proud of her, and she has lots of activities. Like she likes drawing, she likes swimming, and she also do violin, piano. We only have one kid. We have lots of time to support all her activities, you know. So here, when she was young, mom is VIP, very important person. What mom said is always right. As time goes on, the daughter always daddy's sweetheart, you know. So no matter when my husband and I had conflicts, she supported her daddy every time. Even very obvious, I'm correct. She said, no, mom, I heard daddy said correct. So I don't know why. Maybe hopefully it's a short time of period when she really grew up. At least she could be fair to treat both parents, you know. But still, I'm very proud of her. She is really lovely. All right. So I covered my 3 major topics, right? My education, my career, and my family. That's all about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. If you want to take a minute and just provide some feedback for Amy, so you can just write a note to her, give it to her before she leaves. I'll give you about a minute to do that before we move on to our second speaker. So while you're doing that, I told David before we started the meeting, when you take a look at the club website, and then on the left-hand side where you see the members login, and you can see when people logged in the last time. So when we look at that and you see that someone hasn't logged into the website for months and months and months, that's an indication that they're either looking at the agenda but they're not signing up for a role. I would encourage all of you to encourage all the members to definitely go on the club website, because it makes Chen's job a lot easier when you sign up for roles ahead of time. And by that I mean at least a week before, and probably no later than the Thursday before your meeting on Sunday. Because otherwise, just like today, we're scrambling to fill the roles, and it just saves a lot of time if people would sign up a lot earlier. So please encourage them to do that. If they're not sure how to sign on to the website, so see David, see Chen, let's help the members help themselves, so that, again, we can look at filling the agenda ahead of time so Chen doesn't have to start doing things at the very last minute on Saturday or Sunday morning. Because when I looked at the agenda this morning, which was around, I was telling David, at 11 a.m., I saw these empty spaces on the agenda. I was wondering, okay, how many people are actually going to show up for the meeting? So I encourage everybody to do that. So now we're going to shift gears here, and I'm going to move this back for you, David. David is going to be practicing his international speech for his area contest, which is coming up this Thursday, March 21st, which will be at the Barrington Library. He'll be competing with someone else from actually the Lake Zurich Club. And we certainly wish David well. So I'm going to introduce him just the same way that he would be introduced at a contest. And that's just his name, his speech title twice, and his name. Because I've been in several contests where they want to go into an introduction for the speaker. I'm like, no, you don't do that in contest mode. So this is how I would introduce David. International speech contestant number 1, David Chen. Little things matter. Little things matter, David Chen.
In his commencement speech to students at the University of Texas, U.S. Navy Admiral William McRaven said, "If you want to change the world, start by making a bed." Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and I guess, why would a mundane task like making your own bed be so important to a tough U.S. Navy SEAL? It's the first step to many other small steps you needed to get through your day. Little things matter in life because they build up to big things. If you cannot do little things right, you can never do big things right. This is not the mindset I had when I was sent to boarding school at 14 years old. I thought we ought to have big dreams, study hard, go to top university, and conquer the world. Instead, in boarding school, I found we have to do many little things ourselves, like making our own bed, washing clothes by hand. In cold winter, I get frostbite on every finger. And I resented every morning at 6 a.m. sharp, my physical education teacher will come to our dorm with a loud whistle, shouting, "Toot, toot, all up, time to run." We always run a mile and 3 100-meter sprints. Only 35 years later, I realized the importance of these short little runs when I started running marathons. My wife is a firm believer in little things. A few months after she came to the U.S., her beautiful hair is getting quite long because we lived on my graduate student scholarship. We want to save money, so she asked me to cut her hair. She specifically told me to leave 1 inch below her ear. I thought, okay, sure, no problem. How hard can it be? Well, her hair is quite thick. It's hard to cut a straight line. So I had to cut back and forth. Soon I realized it was 1 inch short. She was furious. And I thought, what's 1 inch such a big deal? I see some of the ladies shake their heads. At the time, since I didn't get the warning of getting killed for 1 inch, I felt as victimized, hand-packed husband, while I blame her being a picky one. Only 27 years of marriage did I gradually realize the importance of little things. They may be trivial to you, but very important to others. My son has a hobby of origami. For years, he has been folding these little things like a boat, airplane, rockets. They fill his pockets and backpacks. Sometimes a quarter of the room, his floor of his room is covered with these pesky little leaders, as I call them. His teacher will tell us, sometimes you can get distracted in class by this. And my wife and I had serious talks with him. We want him to abandon such bad habit altogether. One day, he told me, "Dad, I'm sorry I get distracted by origami sometimes, but this is just one way I practice my imagination, craftsmanship, and ingenuity. Maybe one day I become the best aircraft engineer in the world." I give him a big hug. Wow, little things can mean big dreams. And I was reminded of the big dream I had as a kid. My fellow Toastmasters fans, have you ever overlooked some little details and came across being not very sensitive to other people's feelings? Humans can be very tender and sensitive, particularly my wife. For many years, I often thought others are too sensitive or emotional because they care so much about such little details. However, but some little things seem trivial to you, but may be very important to others. Many little things, their importance can be significance can be appreciated from a different angle or perspective. Like considering what makes your spouse happy. Nowadays, my house, whenever I have doubt, I ask my wife, how should I do it, boss? Other little things, like your kids' hobbies, may remind you of your own experience or your dreams as a kid. All little things, while small in nature, build up to big things. Every little task you completed not only give you encouragement to continue, but may just accumulate to a big accomplishment you ever dreamed of. Every little mile I ran, 26 of them make a marathon. With that, you can proudly say, I can run a marathon. Let's all focus on little things. Stick with them. Build upon them. Strengthen the relationship in every situation. And accomplish your big dreams. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. So I'm going to give you a minute to jot down some thoughts that you have, because then when we get into, when Deason is a general evaluator, we'll get into the round robin portion so we can give David a little bit more in-depth feedback. And Marty, I'm going to ask you to introduce the next speaker.
Certainly.
So I give you a minute to do that before I have Marty come up. And as all of you know, when you're the Toastmaster, you never want to introduce yourself. You want to have another Toastmaster introduce your speech, because it's kind of odd, because sometimes in the past where somebody's doing multiple roles and they're the Toastmaster, they well, now they're the general evaluator, so they'll do, one of these, they'll like pirouette around and, shift into what the other role, but ideally you want someone else to introduce you.